My name is Talent.
My name is Talent.
I work for Catspay.
I work for Catspay. No, with the Talent. Teacher, we come. She said we know some, but some we don't.
So, do we know? And what do we not know?
What do you know about your body?
It's important for one exercise. For breast examination. It's very important for a woman.
Martin, no, but it's because they have to flank you with.
Okay. Okay. Good nutrition for good health. I said I come from an organization called Catspay. We always say that empowerment, that power, will start with at least owning my own body, knowing my own body. Before I start going out there to say, I want to be the leader, I want to be Miss Zimbabwe, we have Miss Zimbabwe, you have the model. Before you start saying, I want to be the teacher, I want to change other people's lives, at least you need to be able to control your own body. So that's when initially we said, do we know our bodies? Because that is the first tool, the first resource that we have, the most important resource that we always have. When we have no money, when we have no education, when we have no power, the only thing that you can count on as a resource, at least, is your body. The first word on this chart says demand. Yes, this is the first big word, the first big letter. Can you see that? Demand. As women, we have to be happy, we have to celebrate, because our constitution is giving us power to demand our rights. Yes, we are saying that we have to know our bodies, we have to be in control of our bodies, but it's not happening. Rape is rampant in Zimbabwe. If you open the newspaper today, on page 2 and 3, you see lots of cases on how women are being abused. So it's not just rape that's happening. What else is happening? What other forms of abuse are women facing out there?
for long hours.
Okay, working for long hours,
Domestic violence.
domestic violence. So there's a lot of sexual abuse. What are the root causes of this? What is making it?
Oppression. And awareness. Lack of awareness.
Okay, lack of awareness. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, she's saying if, for example, if you go to a court, there will be a communication barrier, and it will be difficult for the deaf to understand.
Okay, lack of knowledge. Some afraid. So fear is also a big thing, isn't it? And maybe just to summarize here, if you look at the chat, if you can open the chat, there is another one there. There are some problems that we didn't mention here, but they also have a bearing on our ability to control our bodies, our ability to be safe, and to feel protected in the society we live in. Okay, so just to add on, there is the first one, the right to life. And you'll find it in the Constitution. You'll get a copy of the new Constitution. Every human being is entitled to the right to life. And this should not be put to risk by pregnancy or childbirth. Yes. Rights to contraception. We know this, isn't it? Do we? Do we know? We know, isn't it? So at the end of the day, we realize that, okay, so this chat is just really calling us and challenging us to demand that men and society in general have that respect that women should make the decision for themselves, how many children they want to have. But in order for that to happen, we have to do effectively with these problems of rape. We have to be in a relationship where you are with this partner of your choice, where you can, when you want sex, where you can, communicate with your partner without fear. Someone talked about fear, and say, I want to have sex. And you also have knowledge about how you can protect yourself so that sex can be safe, isn't it? So these things are linked. Yes, you may know, you may have that knowledge of, what are your rights, your sexual rights, your reproductive rights. But if you are living in a relationship where there is rape, where there is violence, if you're living in fear and if you don't have knowledge, it will compromise your ability to be able to demand, isn't it? So these things are linked. Yes, you can jump and say, I have a right to this. But if you don't have the knowledge, if you are afraid of walking into a health center and saying, I need contraception, then you'll be at a disadvantage. The next point talks about right to information. I think this issue we're talking about, knowledge. How many of us are mothers here? Mothers, parents. Okay, we have children. So we have children. This chart is talking about reproductive rights and sexual rights. Not just for us, because we are older. We said feminists, they tackle all the forms of discrimination and oppression, isn't it? Including ageism. So we will not say, oh no, these rights are just for us because we are older, or because we are married, or because we are more educated. These rights are for everyone. And one of the rights here says, right to comprehensive information. Parents, mothers, yeah? Most of us here have said that we are parents. Are we giving information to our children? And how much information are we giving them? Because we are saying here, our children are being raped. They are living in, they are facing emotional abuse. And we say we attribute that to fear and lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. Are we doing things differently? Are we giving them the information? How many of us talk to their children about their bodies and tell them the truth about their bodies and how our bodies function? Tell us, can you share what you have done as a parent?
I teach my daughter about the menstrual cycle and that she should not play with boys.
I don't have children as such, but I have a youth group that I conducted in Dodge, and it's from the ages of, let's say, 13 to about 16. One interesting thing that I saw was that they don't have those talks at home, but actually learn from school. So what we try and do is to really teach them like an aunt or like a mother. I didn't have to play that role. Even if they ask questions, I have to be, explain as much as possible. Because if I leave them hanging, who are they going to ask? Who is going to tell them the right thing? They'll end up experimenting.
I had a question around that. What exactly do we tell our children? Is it about playing with boys? Because we have realized people don't say the truth. We sort of skirt around the issue. So maybe if she can explain what playing with boys is.
We didn't get much not to play with boys. They may play with boys, but the boys might not touch them. Maybe we are playing boys, playing yes, but not touching.
We are women. We are not just women. We are mothers. Some of us are sisters. We don't have children yet. Others, we have children in the near future. And I think this discussion is opening us up to some of the challenges that women face in Africa, in Zimbabwe. And we also had that important discussion around knowing our bodies, why it is important for us to know our bodies. I think at the end of the day, we can conclude that most of the problems that we face as women will just go back to the issue of, being able to be in control of our bodies and to be able to know what's happening with our bodies and then to be able to demand our rights. And these rights include, for example, the right to life, or we talked about that, the right to access services. And I think the conversation we're having really created an understanding around how we are not able to access some services because of, say, communication barrier. Our rights to education. So all these rights at the end of the day are all interlocked. So for example, if you can't read or write, or if you can't communicate, because a service provider cannot understand you, because a service provider does not have the technique, or at a service point, there's no one who can understand sign language, it is a disadvantage to you and to be a barrier to your being able to access certain rights. So all these issues are very interlinked. And we are saying that when we demand them, when you demand your right to education, for example, for you to be literate, for you to be able to read and write, the big issue is so that I can be able to access my rights as a woman, as a black woman, or as a woman who is living in a low income setting without much money. I still need to be able to access my rights.
Okay, the manager, I don't know, the leader, okay, tricked the woman by giving her car keys, the car, so.
That was more of a bribe, something that was meant to lure her into a relationship. Okay. Contributions? Anyone else to comment? Yes, please.
I think the man was weak. When the man was touching me, she didn't do anything. She just look. If someone is going to do it, you just look. I is going to do it. You might learn to fight.
Your boss is touching you, you're uncomfortable about it, and you don't do anything about it. What will be happening there? Does someone want to just try and yes?
Generally, women have the fear in them because we are generally weaker than men physically. So at times that causes us to have that fear in us.
Is it just physical or it's also psychological?
Yes.
Could it be that? Could it be also that it's also in the mind?
Yes.
And that our culture, our society, our families have raised us to believe that we are weak.
We are born and bred to be weaker.
We are born and bred to be weaker. Who else will push this message that the man is the head? Huh? From church? From our culture? So, culture and tradition. Okay. Okay. Men and women are equal. But in real life, when we check, things are not like that. And we owe it to our churches, our religion. That will tell you a woman should be subordinate. Our culture, even. Where else do we get messages that men are more important than women? In our culture, what happens if the father goes away and a girl is raised by a single mother? When it's time for marriage, what do? You look for the man, isn't it? So So what does it mean to this woman who has worked very hard? It makes you feel inferior. So at the end of the day, we just move around feeling very inferior. So we grow up feeling very inferior, isn't it? So what I want us, in order to really bring that clarity home, and Agnes has already started, is to try and differentiate the differences between men and women according to whether they are natural or just differences that we create in our own minds and we drive them in the name of culture, in the name of religion, and for the benefit of men. So I've put here 2 words, gender and sex. So we have biological differences, things that we are different from men. Can we cite some of those differences, things that separates men from women, the biological elements? So for example, men have and women have. Also, the man has got a penis. So it's the physical. So sex. So this is correct. So sex is physical. So you talked about the penis. And the women, how do you have? The vagina. Okay? Any other difference? Our physical makeup? Yes? Testicles. Testicles. Penis and testicles. And the woman?
Women have ovaries.
And we have ovaries. So, ovaries for women, isn't it? Okay? Yes. All the other differences that might be there that will make one gender, so that will make the men feel superior, are here. They are constructed by us here as the mothers. So you are a mother, you say, you, my daughter, go and cook. Huh? You, because you are a boy, just go outside and head the kettle. And when we start, because this boy already from a young age, he's doing things that will make him believe that he's the brave one. Therefore, he has to go outside and face, whatever comes to catch the kettle. Then obviously we are grooming him to be stronger. And this girl, we are just grooming him to do things that, the soft things. So I don't know if you understand the difference between gender and sex. But we said gender is socially constructed. Gender can therefore be changed. We create it and it can be changed. The gender roles that we have can be changed, isn't it? Patriarchy as a concept, we'll look at perpetuating is a concept that describes that's linked to how the system of male domination will be regarded as that system with which we have to live by. So patriarchy really defines our context because we are living in a male-dominated society. So while racism defines the relations between, say, between races, for example, we say white people feel that they are more important than black people. Patriarchy perpetuates a system of male domination over women. So whether it's a rich man, the rich man always feel that I'm important. Even if the man feels that I'm poor, but still I'm better than a woman. I'm entitled to a woman, I can beat up a woman, I can do what I want with a woman, because whether I'm working or not, whether I'm educated or not, whether I'm employed or not, at least I know that I'll be more important than any woman. So patriarchy is a system that will perpetuate the domination of women over of men rather over women. Do you understand that? Even a man who is useless, a man who doesn't even know how to tie his own shoelaces, a drunkard, a person that will not take care of his own family or even himself, will feel that I'm more important than any woman. And patriarchy is that system that I mentioned feminism at the beginning. Is that system that feminism is looking to tackle and saying, you know what, this system of male domination is supposed to end. Because apart from these differences, which are just physical, we have created artificial differences that men are stronger, but it's all here because of how we have raised our children, our boy children. That men are more important, but it's just because we send our boy children to school and our girl children will stay at home, and when they get an education, they can be employed and they'll feel like they're more important and more clever. But this system of male domination, this system of that makes us feel that boys are more important, is the one that is pushing us to ensure that our boys, our men have greater access to resources. And even when they don't have those resources, they still feel that, they are just important. But we are saying these differences, we acknowledge them. That we carry a pregnancy because you are a woman. But that doesn't make you less important than a man. In the spirit of sisterhood, it is important for us to take the issues out of this room. And when we step out, to start saying, you know what are we doing about it? We can do something about it as a movement. Join hands with other groups of women, because there are many other groups of women that are trying to organize against oppression. Women living with HIV, women that were harassed by their husbands, women who are sex workers, women who are of different sexual orientation. There are different groups of women out there who are trying to find their little battles. But I think there's also power in coming together as one and saying, yes, we have got our different issues, separate issues, but let's come together and confront our issues as one. Yes. So thank you very much. I know there were a lot more points on these sheets, and some of them were repeated. I don't know if anyone wants to say anything, any comments. Any comments? So I'm just going to leave you. Okay.
Not really based on what we're talking about, but as your organization, you guys reach out to like women or youth throughout Zimbabwe during such training sessions?
I would say yes, we are a relatively small organization. At Katswe is relatively small, and we work mostly in Harare side and six suburbs. So we go where the women are, in the communities, in the community halls, where we know that people who don't have $1 for transport to go to town for a workshop can actually access that community hall because it's available to them all the time. So that's where, and we started those programs, started implementing those programs in 2009. But what I can also say, there are bigger organizations like Mrs. Masiwa's organization, the Women's Action Group, which was formed a long time ago, 1983. And it was a movement, it is an organization that holds women together. That's why you see Mrs. Masiwa is here, because we're also learning from the organizations that were created a long time ago. But I also think in reaching out, in building that sisterhood and the solidarity, and in wanting to speak with a much louder voice, we have to begin to create links between all our organizations. Because yes, organizations can work and concentrate on one thing, which is good because it is effective in its own ways. But I think there's also strength when we join hands together and just say, 8 March is International Women's Day, and I think those are some of the opportunities we have to do things together.
Thank you.
When we talk about social movement, we are talking about a situation. How do we respond to the problem? We fertilize men coming together to make the movement. Because the movement is made by people who are the people to make the movement. Some movement, movement, when because you push it and you wait for others to do the work for you. You have a problem, but you don't take the initiative to solve your problem. You wait for people who need to come in and do the solving for you. So we must start to build the movement and join the other men. Why do we make the movement? Because we want to achieve the common goals. We want to make it a movement. Something movement. What makes movement feminist? What makes? Yes, but it's like for men, of women coming together to sit down against you. All remember before someone was and fight against the laws that operate against men. Fight sleep with movement. People have the same spirit, deficit, different power dynamics, training, example, work together, different same talent before kill, different budget together, we join for what we are facing, something is right for men. We use different approaches to reach this time call. Solid health means someone has we had someone myself, I don't know. We must fight together if we don't win. Well, there's some foundation. If we were movement, begin to think that why might it always be that? Always win. If today we were not in fight, but the next year, which is just because we win last year, then we will lose again. So we must always be fighting. When we have this man, time we have one second. Why? Maybe me, yes, part of life, but when they get there, why? Why? Because people are different. Some we think different, for we being friends, I just together. Conflict is inevitable, it is always there, but when conflict brings us down, it is trouble. So, now to talk about feeling it. Now, need more. Better work, some start balance. Start balance, man. Maybe there was one woman seen further, but the father, maybe some bad with that, it is all. I'm like, jump down. You remember, people, man. Public won't see him. When you make a bruise, damn, my give you. And fit out. Some men can be victim of a bruise from women. Never let people about men, but what was while some. Now I want to group what of them. It's your pieces. Right, how you are going to form a movement and the way you are going to make it grow. Stop at me.
You can also make a report and put it in a suggestion box if you don't want to, your name to be revealed.
Yeah, I'm suggesting for it.
About any violence that you are witnessing around your community. Or you can either report to the church, the chief. And counseling also helps when there's domestic violence. We must also do some campaigns among ourselves women. For instance, if you are raped, you should report to the police so that the person will be apprehended. Seek for legal advice if we are raped. We should also have awareness or workshops conscientize the women on abuse.
Cross one, nothing, nothing, what nothing, maybe warm, husband, give man, nothing, food, and the old, maybe fish. One man, and the most job man. First thing, some men come, pay me, some money, this man. But nothing, so, warfare, some total warfare. One day, me. Oh, we help them. How? I mean, careful, man. Never went to school. So there is no pretend nothing. What they need, man. Me, my life, lot of my life. Man, I was careful, man. To make man a table to get 20 minutes come. No pen, nothing, pen myself to man. But if come one day up, we have to how do I help man? How?
How do you help?
On pepper, to have
Recently, we had a girl, okay, she's about the age of 18, seeking maternity help or whatever was kind of difficult for her. Because one of the first questions she was asked is, yeah, dear, why are you pregnant? You know? I found it funny, but it's a right to be pregnant. You know? She can choose whether she wants a child or not. Who is going to interpret for you during labor? You know you are not allowed to do such a thing. It's actually a taboo to them to have a child. So, what are we going to do? It's an open question to the ground. As much as we want to seek that service, but it's not really happening on the ground. It's there, yes. But what there is a disabled person, you're not given the service.
I think there should be, now that we are starting to work with people with disabilities, it gives us an opportunity to pick advocacy issues from such fora and then feedback to the service providers. That's a very important question you are raising, that people have attitude towards people living with disabilities, and we need, I think that's something we need to take up and sensitize the health workers that everyone has a right, I mean even to fall pregnant, even the right to sex. If you are disabled, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a sexual relationship. So I think it's an issue that should be taken up.
My name is Grace Chirenge, and I will facilitate the next few hours today. Our objective for today is to understand ourselves better and how we relate to the different environments that we live in. So before I start, I'll put the objectives up somewhere. I would like to get to know all of you. I'm bad with names, but I'll try and remember as much as I can. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I work with young women through Zimbabwe Young Women's Network for Peace Building. For us, a young woman is anybody aged 16 to 35. I love learning new stuff, and I'm excited to be here today. So I want all of you to tell me your names, and then we can take it from there, starting with my lovely friend here, Agnes. And anything else you want us to know? Tell us anything else you think I should know.
My name is Agnes.
Can you tell us one secret? My name is Zekai Matongo.
And tell us one secret.
That's a Thai name.
Okay.
My name is Stella. Litera. That's a sign name. My name is Emma Katima. That's my sign name. My name is Palma Sengeni. That's my sign name. My name is Kuda Mateture. That's my sign name.
I'm Samantha Nyiremba. The secret is that I'm a patient person with the business. Yes,
My name is Tokozile Sibanda. That's my sign name. I'm Shifato. Hello. My name is Deborah. My name is Deborah Shlanga. My sign name is I'm from Lawayo. Thank you.
My name is Leah.
They should go out anyway for 1 minute. Look for anything that symbolizes power for them. Anything. Anything. When did you ever feel powerful?
Yes.
What had happened for you to feel powerful? Where were you? With who? And how did you feel? And how did others react? So I want you to take turns one by one. We pick up our symbol and we talk about our power. Answer any question you want to talk about.
Okay. My symbol is the rock. Just a few days ago, I sent a protest on Facebook about people who send pornographic images and videos. I felt powerful. I felt it was my time to speak. It's been happening for a long time. I think I'm not the only one. People who just share those images and videos because they just want to entertain people. So I stood up and said, my God doesn't like this. So I felt powerful. I felt that my problem of anger against that had ended. I just felt relieved. And the way people reacted, some liked it. I got close to 40 people who sent the message and say, thank you. We didn't know how to say it, but you stood up for us. We don't like it. And some were not pleased, but about 3 people or so were not pleased. But anyway, I felt very powerful because I was able to say something against something I felt was not right.
Wow.
Mine is kind of untouchable.
Okay.
I think it's very powerful. It's the sun. Okay, to start off with, it brings light. It brings a lot of light. So I think that's a lot of power on its own. A lot of power on its own. And to me, when there's light, it gives me a lot of inspiration to keep on going.
That's the stone. The stone helps the land to be firm. So if there is no stone, it means people they'll sink in the sand. So the stone is very important. I cite an example that if I am a woman and a man make advances on you, I'm like the stone, I will be able to be in a position to say no. Okay. That's good. If you sow a seed, it grows a little bit strong and it becomes dry. And then your harvests. which is grown yearly for people to get food.
Now does that relate with her power?
She's saying the food helps one to have good health. And I have control over it.
Now.
If the maize grows tassels, that which means the maize is strong. Also, the maize also helps the maize to grow.
I chose a flower and plant. Plants grow green and die at some point. And sometimes, like me, I feel powerful. Sometimes I feel powerless. When I look at all the corruption that's around us today and the poverty, I feel powerless. But recently we organized a march for women on sexual violence, despite what's going on, and that made me feel powerful. So strong? Okay.
Wow.
It's something unusual for me. I hardly ever look people in the eye.
I have to agree with her because it's really difficult to look at somebody for 2 minutes, even 30 seconds. I mean, first you read their character, you can tell who they are. But from then, it's either you become shy or you then know that this kind of a person is either soft, hard, after those 30 seconds.
Because when we look at people, we get to read their character. And some of us are not happy about our character. You get to see them, and I don't want to be seen. I want you to keep the image of me that you have, not the real me. I want to protect myself. So when you look at me, I get nervous and uncomfortable. Because I think you might not want to be a friend to me, or you might judge me, or you might see through all my lies, all my protection, all my pretense. on this side, you write what others see, or think, or feel, or tell you about yourself. And then on the other side, who I think I really am is what you write on the other side.
People they think that I'm very stupid because I married a hearing husband. But I really love my husband. People think that I'm very firm and tall and very strong and brave. People think that I don't have friends, but I have many deaf friends.
People think I am slow and lazy, but I am a very patient person and I like to do things step by step. Some people think I'm snobbish and unsociable, but I'm very careful about who I mix with. So I avoid people who discourage me or put me in danger.
There's so much noise going on inside us that we fail to be at peace with who we really are.
It's like you have to head city like
So we wanted to do this session so you'll know that I am somebody, but who am I? What do I want to be, and what do I want the world to be? I have to be at peace with myself and who I am, so that the rest of the world can benefit from the power that I have. So no matter what you do, how you do it, some people might never like you. Some will always like you. Some are not bothered. Some don't even notice you. So it may be selfish, but the most important thing is for you to be at peace with who you are and to be happy.
No, influence don't pay. Not law, because if you break away, if the mother will go, which fall upon to tell one focus.
guidelines that have covered you how to do things. And in the community for the country.
Talk about how people are.
No, I didn't call it. I actually said to him, I don't know, I don't know if it's right. Alright, thank you very much.
But for black, people talk about parts. Some other law, who make some other law. Government one if two. No. Some play up Pante. But you long Sam chief or Sam bless I want to fuck you. Think of love. I have a relationship with you, man. The Lord tell me, some relationship with you, man.
I'm not being entitled to anything, right? But now, if I'm very conscious, it's not considered. It is now ridiculous, but whatever.
Women are not allowed to talk on family matters. When we go home, Kumusha, they have their dare. All the fathers of the family, they sit alone there and talk and talk and talk, but the women are not allowed to contribute. Women are forced to marry young to get, so that the parents can get lobola and get rich.
Some brother has to protect me, but some have some low
I think it is important that we need to be able to pick up on some of the advocacy issues. One issue that touched me yesterday was around, when a woman with hearing impairment goes to give birth, how are you expected to understand the instructions? And I think, your lives must be at risk, because people who attend, to someone with a hearing impairment is somebody who doesn't, know sign language. So how do you know what they're saying to you? So really, I think for me is, as women in the women's movement, we need to embrace women of diversity. We have been very exclusive, but we forget that we have the same rights as women. You desire the same things that I desire, but there is need for us to pay special attention to your needs in order for you to be also integrated in the larger movement. Because for as long as we keep you as a separate group, you miss out on a lot of information that you can use to promote and protect your rights.
On behalf of all the ladies who are here, I would like to thank Leah. Thank you, Leah, for coming to Zimbabwe and supporting us in this workshop. And we thank you for everything, for the training. May God bless you.